Hi guys, Shauna Hall here for the discussion thread of this week, Fundamentalist Controversies. And one of the events that I picked was the Supreme Court ruling of Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, and that recently just happened in 2022. So real quickly, background to understand this, go back in time for Roe v. Wade, where they actually said that a state cannot deprive a woman's right to an abortion according to the 14th Amendment. Decades later, Mississippi creates a law, Gestational Age Act, which bars all abortion after 15 weeks gestational age of 20. That was in 2018. And so basically, the Supreme Court had the question on this Mississippi law, is it unconstitutional? And so in a 6-3 decision, Mississippi law says that Supreme Court says that Mississippi law stands as is. It is constitutional. They take it a step further in a 5-4 decision. The 14th Amendment technically does not specifically mention any abortion rights whatsoever. So the Supreme Court overturns their Roe v. Wade decision from the previous years. And now it's up to the states to decide their abortion laws. So the modern view since Roe v. Wade, a state law cannot create an undue burden on a woman's right to an abortion. So the modern view is it's the woman's right to choose what to do with her body and if she wants an abortion or not. Now, the fundamentalist view here, substantive due process rights, such as a right to an abortion, may be found only when they are deeply rooted in the nation's history and tradition. So due process rights of life, liberty, and property. And nowhere in our historical documents or any of the personal writings of our founding fathers was it ever mentioned to terminate a pregnancy. So abortion is not part of our history and tradition, according to these fundamentalists. So the modernist viewpoint, when it comes to these abortion rights, they insist on the right of freedom of thought in religion and talks about progress in thought. So with the modernists, they truly believe that the Bible allows to evolve ideas and to meet the current needs of the time. The Bible does not specifically use the term abortion, therefore it is open to interpretation to God's rules. Michelle Obama is a leading advocate in supporting women's rights to choose, and she is a member of the Trinity United Church of Christ. And a quote she put on Twitter after the Supreme Court's decision in the Dobbs case, she wrote, "This horrifying decision will have devastating consequences, and it must be a wake-up call, especially to the young people who will bear its burdens." I also went online to see what Bible verses people that support abortion use in their arguments. And Genesis chapter 21, verse 22. If people are fighting and hit a pregnant woman and she gives birth prematurely, but there is no serious injury, the offender must be fined whatever the woman's husband demands and the court allows. So this suggests that the fetus is property over being considered alive. Now, the fundamentalist viewpoint, the authority of the Bible to cover many fields of thought that others would regard as a matter of indifference. So really, the Bible has the ultimate authority over everything. Even in the story of Moses, the Egyptian Pharaoh instructed all the midwives to kill all Hebrew newborns from the womb. So you do see a form of abortion back in biblical times. Reverend Billy Graham, he's a Southern Baptist minister, and he, in an interview about abortion, he said, "I know it's common today to think of abortion as a simple answer to an inconvenient problem, but it is actually a far more serious issue. Your child is not simply a mass of tissue. He or she is a human being in God's eyes." And Reverend Graham used Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." I also wanted to read the entire chapter 21 of Genesis just to see what the Bible verses surrounding verse 22 was. And in the very next verse 23, "But if there is a serious injury, you are to take a life for a life. Therefore, an unborn baby is considered a life." So here are the different churches, different denominations. So you've got the Southern Baptist Convention, you've got Lutheran, LDS, Catholics, and they all oppose abortion rights no matter what. And then you have the United Church of Christ, and here where they actually support abortion rights with few or no limits. And then here's some pro-life propaganda from the 60s. This is from the Library of Congress, and they even kind of show a pregnant woman it's the baby on the cross that's being sacrificed when it comes to abortion. And then here you have religious groups that do support abortion. God is pro-choice, Religious Coalition for Abortion Rights,